So it's late November 2019. I'm in the gym, COBA Charter Oak Boxing Academy in Hartford. We're closed. Actually, Pito Cardona was just here training someone. He left, so I'm getting ready to head out. But I wanted to touch base. I did a video the other day. Interesting, I think, just on the psyche of a boxer, right? So people responded well. They were interested. So I want to put up another thought. As a fighter, here's my thing. Now, a lot of guys, you see a lot of gyms, they spar, and I understand, I'm not saying it's wrong or whatever, but you see guys like they spar, and it's very controlled, and if someone gets hurt, they'll stop it. If someone's bleeding, they'll stop it. If you get a cut, they'll stop it, which I understand. But here's my thing. If you're a fighter, as a coach, as a trainer, I am looking at you, whether you realize it or not, whether it looks like it or not. I am looking at you constantly to see how you respond to negative things, to adversity. And, amateurs is one thing, but, I put pro and amateur in the same mentality in terms of, it's human. Like, you're either going to respond right or you're not. And I'll give you the perfect example. Perfect. Now, I've talked about this with people, and I've got to explain it. Now, if you're sparring and you get cut, right? You get cut. You get cut bad. You're cut. You feel the blood going in your eye. And I always use myself as an example. I'm not trying to brag, nothing like that. I can only use myself as an example of what I thought in these instances. If you're sparring and you get cut, it should not be your idea to stop. The trainer is the one who's supposed to see the cut, say, come here, let me look at it. Okay, look, we got to stop sparring. It's crazy for you to keep going. Now, I don't want you as a boxer to quickly agree. I don't want you to look for me to stop it, because if you get cut and your instincts tell you to play it safe and to come over to the coach, say, oh, coach, I'm cut, we need to stop. That mentality is not legit, not deep. And I've seen it. I've seen guys get injured in the gym. Oliveira had a bad, I think it was his elbow or his knee. Something happened, and everybody's telling me, I think it was his shoulder, and everybody was saying, oh man, you gotta stop this. I said, man, I'm trying, but this guy's gonna kill me if I stop this. It was just sparring, but his instincts told Ray to fight through it, and even though it was only the gym. And I can remember times, especially when I was amateur, but pro too, and I remember being cut in the gym, and my trainer's trying to stop it, and I'm panicking, and I say, listen, you cannot stop this. I've got to prove myself right now. I got to fight through this. I can't train myself to quit in adversity. So when you see a guy, when you're a trainer, as a trainer, if you're my boxer and you come over and I see you have a cut, I'm looking for you to be upset, be disappointed, be angry that we have to stop the sparring. I want to see a guy want to keep going. Now, I'm not going to necessarily let you keep going, but I want to see you want to keep going. Same thing in a fight. Now, look, I'm not dogging anyone, questioning their heart. Everybody's different in the mentality, in the moment. But here's one thing I know. If you're a fighter and you're in a fight and there's any indication that the referee might stop the fight on you, you have absolutely, and the thing is, it's got to come from within. So I can't necessarily tell you to do it, because if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. But I can tell. If I watch you in the corner and the referee comes over and he's talking about stopping the fight, you can hear him talking to your trainer about stopping the fight. Or he's telling you he's going to stop the fight. If you don't show anger, anxiousness, panic, whatever, then they're going to stop the fight. And because they know deep down in your heart you don't want to continue. You want them to stop it. You want them to stop it so you can say, they stopped it. What could I do? I'll tell you what you could do. You could do what I did. I'll give you an example. Rudy Battle, famous referee, Blue Horizon. I had fought Tony Thornton. I got cut in the previous fight, my previous fight, and I had 4 cuts, and all of them opened up like in the first round against Tony Thornton. Ended up going 10 rounds, but I'll tell you the reason I went 10, was able to go 10, is because after, I forget, 7th, 8th, whatever round it was, Rudy Battle came to the corner, and he wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to my trainer, and he said, I forget what he said, but he indicated he would stop the fight if the cuts got a little worse, or he'll give me one more round. And I remember telling him, and I was angry, and I said, I will kill you if you stop this fight. And I remember he looked at me and said, hey, calm down, son. Relax, take a break, right? But I went to 10. And afterwards, he was halfway like laughing, and he came over to me, and he kind of hugged me, or whatever he did. He patted me on the back, and he said, "Hey, good job. That was all right." And the thing is, there's no doubt in my mind. It was obvious he was going to stop the fight if I didn't do that. If I sat there, and I think subconsciously he was waiting to see what kind of response he would get out of me, or he's going to notice what kind of response. I've seen guys in the corner. And they're hurt, whatever, they're banged up, they're bruised, whatever the case may be. And the referee says something about stopping the fight. And you know what they do? They don't say a word. They don't say a word. They keep quiet. They put their head down. That tells the ref all he needs to know. You do not want to fight. You may not even realize you're doing it, but I've seen kids, young kids, 10 years old. I've seen young 10-year-old kids, 11, 12, 14, where I'm going to stop the sparring on them, and they start crying and throwing things. I mean, they want to fight. Human beings will let you know what they want to do. And so as a trainer, if I'm training you, you better show me, what you want to do. And your quietness will tell me what you want to do, and your anger will tell me what you want to do. And they're usually two different things. So if a referee comes to the corner, starts talking about stopping the fight on you for different reasons, you have a cut, you look shaky, whatever the case may be, if you want it stopped, don't say a word. Just sit there and let it happen, because it'll happen. The referee's looking for your spirit to come through. And as a fighter, if you don't have that or don't develop that, then it's always going to be a case where when things get deep, you're going to be this close to getting stopped, always. And a trainer knows you. There's certain guys, once they get hurt a little bit, the trainer will stop the fight because he knows the guy might be a good fighter, but when it comes down to it, he's not going through fire any more than he has to. So, and there's some guy, like I say, Ray Oliveira, whatever you want to say about Ray. Ray was a punching machine. He let his hands go. He beat some very good fighters. Ray was, he just fell short of winning a world title, but Ray was a serious contender. But Ray was my kind of guy. Like Ray was going to go through pain. I've seen Ray cry during sparring because he was in so much pain with I believe it was his shoulder. His shoulder was in such pain, he would be crying, but he would not let you stop the fight, not stop the sparring. He was not going to stop, and I was there, and I was the guy for him at that time because, I understood exactly where he was coming from. Like I say, it's a fine line. You don't want to let your guys get hurt, but again, if it's sparring, if it's a fight, and there's any indication, you feel the idea that the sparring or the fight is about to be stopped, you better let someone know, obviously, that you don't want to stop and that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get through this. Because if you don't, and I know, and the ref knows, you don't want to truly continue. Period. I'm not saying you couldn't be a good fighter otherwise, but there's good fighters, but at certain points, they don't show. Their instincts don't tell them to show panic, show apprehension, show anger, whatever it is. You could say what you want about me as a fighter, but I had a couple, instances. One when I first got cut with Tim Littles, and then the next fight when I got cut with Tony Thornton. And I can remember as an amateur getting cut by Andre Skeeter in 1984. And I went through all 3 fights, and I'm sure it's because I let the referee and the doctor know I was there. I was there to fight, and if I get hurt, I mean, I'm already cut. Let me, it's too late to stop it. I mean, if you want to protect me that much, don't let me start boxing in the first place. Just to stop it on a cut. I mean, I'm not worried about a cut. And to be a professional, let's have that be your motto. I'm not worried about a cut. Because if you're worried about a cut, don't go pro. Do not go pro. If you're worried about your face, about, you're a good-looking guy, whatever the case is. You don't want to get cut. Your mom doesn't want you to get bruised up. I mean, so trust me when I tell you, you've got to have it in your heart. When you know someone's about to stop the fight, you've got to really, really, really show that that's not going to happen, that you don't want that to happen. So keep an eye on that, coach. If you're a coach, keep an eye on your guys. See how they respond in instances when maybe they get a broken nose, bloody nose, cut eye, whatever the case may be, wobbled a little bit and, get hit with a good shot. See how they respond in the corner the next time the bell rings. See what they say. See how their body language is. Learn your boxer's body language. Trust me. All right.